Hey everyone, this is acyuta-bhava from Nightlight Astrology, and today we are going to talk about Venus's entrance into the sign of Aries. Venus is just coming out of being in her exaltation in Pisces, where things were pretty rosy. Now Venus has entered a sign in which she was classically said to be in her exile or detriment, and today we're going to take a look at an ancient astrological text that sort of explains why Venus in a Mars-ruled sign can be difficult. Both Venus in Aries or Venus in Scorpio were said to be a detrimental place for Venus. What does that really mean, though? And is it really such a negative thing? We're going to take a look at that today. So that is our agenda. And we have 5 reasons that you can be excited for Venus in Aries and 5 things you should watch out for. So, as always, please like and subscribe, share your comments in the comments section, click the notification bell for updates, all of which helps the channel to grow. Really appreciate it. If you want any of the transcripts of my talks, you can find them on my website, usually within 24 hours of any given video. That's nightlightastrology.com. Don't forget my new class, Ancient Astrology for the Modern Mystic, starts on June 5th. You can learn more about that on my website, nightlightastrology.com. Here it is right there. Go up to the courses page, click on the first year course. And when you scroll down, you are going to learn all about it. It's a 1-year class in ancient Hellenistic astrology. We've had thousands of people come through this program over the course of many years now. I've been doing this program, one version of this program or another, for 12 years. And so it is sort of my magnum opus. I poured a lot of time, research, and passion into building this class. You can learn everything that the class has to offer on the first year course page. If you have any questions about it, you can email us at info@nightlightastrology.com. If you scroll down on this page, you'll also find that the class contains 30 online webinars that are held on Sundays starting at noon Eastern time. They go to between 2 and 3 p.m. Eastern time. I lead all of those classes, and then in between classes, I have a tutoring staff that leads interactive tutoring sessions that you can go to. Those are optional. And there's also an interactive group forum discussion where both myself and staff members are there to answer your questions. You can email me throughout the year with questions. So there's a ton of support there built into the program. We also have 12 guest lectures that come in and give guest classes. These are professional astrologers in the industry, and that's outside of the 30 classes and the tutoring sessions. So by the time you put it all together, it is a wealth of information. And there's also lots of guided homework, optional quizzes. You can take the certification test at the end if you're looking to sort of test your knowledge, your skill set, be certified from my school, and go on to start a professional practice. Many people take the course just because it's their hobby. But this class is looking at the ancient roots of astrology. You're learning the art and craft of meaningful prediction, as well as working with live clients. The last third of the program, we have live clients come in and I read for them. And then after they leave, we break down the sessions. People, far and away, that is everyone's favorite part of the course. And it's about the last third of the program after we get through theory. This class does not stand alone. Some of you may know that I also have a year 2 class. Year 2 and Horary classes start on June 11th and 12th. So if you've already taken my year 1 or are currently enrolled in it, you're more than welcome to jump into the advanced programs as well. There's 4 programs that I offer, so 4 years worth of content. And you can check all of those out. Readings and passages doesn't start again until the fall, but that's a full year worth of workshopping charts. So to sign up, at the bottom of the page, there's the early bird payment. You pay in full, you save $500 off. That's the best deal. There's also a 12-month payment plan if you want to stretch it out over a year. Take advantage of that. It makes it a little bit easier for some people. I get it. And then we also have tuition assistance. If for any reason the price point is out of reach because of your fixed budget, your income, whatever your situation is, please check that out and see if it might help you. We like to make sure that no one's ever priced out of taking a spiritual class and learning about astrology. It should be, ancient astrologers literally said that as teachers, you should be easy of access so that if people want to learn, they can come to you and they should be able to study. You should make it things accessible. So that is the reason that I do all this content 5 days a week, year round, and then do a Kickstarter at the end and ask people to donate if they like it. That's why I have a set fee, but then if there's always a donation-based structure for people who want to take the class but have to work within a budget. So we have scholarships for some people too. If nothing is possible, we have a few of those. But make sure if you're going to use the need-based tuition, you take advantage of it while it's still there. Those we don't have an unlimited amount of those. So make sure that you reach out right away if you want to take advantage of that. Also, we've gotten a lot of people sending in, need-based tuition scholarships, and then we email you back. Sometimes we don't hear back from you. So make sure you check your spam folder if you've applied. We always reply back within a day. So if you haven't heard from us, it's probably because it went to your spam folder. If you want to check on your application or anything like that, you can just email info@nightlightastrology.com. Okay, well, let's take a look at Venus entering Aries. So Venus in Aries enters on May 2nd. And by the way, you guys are like, you're wearing a hat. Yes, I'm recovering from COVID right now, and I have bedhead like you would not believe. So you get a hat today. You're welcome. Isn't it fun? All right. So Venus in Aries, May 2nd to May 28th. That's a nice, almost the entire month of May, we get Venus in fiery Aries. Now, this is traditionally said to be a difficult place for Venus. Venus is quote unquote debilitated in this place. But what does that mean? And should we be freaked out by that? Is there nothing positive about it? People don't like that kind of astrology, generally speaking. At the same time, it's really ignorant to toss out the entire philosophical language of ancient astrology. So let's take a moment to just understand what an essential dignity is in this case and what it's rooted in. Before I do that, let's pop up the real-time clock and take a look. So here's Venus having entered the sign of Aries. You can see right there, going to hang out in the sign of the Ram, the temple of Mars, and the exaltation of the sun. A fiery masculine sign, this cardinal sign of spring. It's a really potent temple, and it's not Venus's temple. That's the main thing. Venus's opposite sign is that of Libra, just like Scorpio. The opposite sign is Venus's sign, that of Taurus. So when Venus is ingressing into Taurus at the end of May, it will then be in a much bigger, better sort of condition, one that's more conducive to its own nature. But anyway, again, what does all of this mean? Well, let's come back to an ancient astrologer. His name was Rhetorius, and he in turn was calling on an ancient text from an author named Antiochus. He wrote this, again, for what reason are the domiciles of Mars opposed to the domiciles of Venus? That would mean the home places of Mars. That would be Aries as well as Scorpio. Why are those home signs opposed to the home signs of Venus? If you notice, Scorpio is opposite Taurus, that's Venus's home, and Aries is opposite Libra, that's also Venus's home. So why is it that these places are opposed to one another? He explains, we say that Venus is the ruler of all desire and enjoyment and pleasure, but Mars of all fear and war and anger. Always then are enjoyment and longing and pleasure opposed to dread and irascibility and hostility. So first of all, this is not to say that there's nothing good about Mars, and it's not to overly pigeonhole the meanings of Venus and Mars. He's simply offering something like a philosophical explanation, and these texts are very brief. So in this explanation, what Rhetorius is telling us is that there is something that's archetypally opposite about Venus and Mars. And if you take 2 seconds to think about it, you don't have to reach for a stereotypically, cheesy book like Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus or something like that. You don't have to go down that path with it. But what he's saying is that there's something about division, strife, competition, bravery, courage, hostility, fighting, winning, all Mars types of stuff. And Rhetorius has, in his own book, there are many delineations of Mars that are positive. So it's not like he's just saying, oh, Mars is bad and Venus is good. He's just giving you the general feel for this. Mars kind of rules stuff that's a little bit intense, competition driven. It's very assertive. It's aggressive, tends to be about conflict and strife. Venus, on the other hand, tends to be about what is enjoyable, beautiful, pleasing, or pleasant, desirable. Right? Venus is a bit more like, a bit less like an arm wrestling match and a bit more like, dancing to a beautiful song. So they're opposites. And that's all you really need to know. Why is it that these places are opposed to one another? And why is it then that we say that Venus classically throughout the history of astrology has been understood as experiencing some kinds of challenges when in Mars's signs, and the same thing when Mars is in Venus's signs? It's not because nothing good can come out of those places or combinations. It's that what you're dealing with is an archetypal tension that exists that is going to be amplified. So the tension between Venus and Mars, when you put them in each other's signs, is amplified, and that's complicated. you know Now there's many instances of people, many expressions of that combination that represent a beautiful synthesis of the. Of course, people are always like, what about a balance of, when Venus is in Mars's sign, what about like Venus and Mars things being sort of balanced? Fair enough. Most of the time, though, according to people like Carl Jung and the ancient mystics themselves, it's not so much about balancing opposites. Like there's some perfect, like life is not naturally perfectly balanced. Go walk on the actual earthy soil. Is it ever, what's flat and perfectly balanced is like concrete that we've artificially poured somewhere. You walk in nature, everything's imbalanced, everything's up and down, and there's texture and different terrains, and it's uneven, and that's beautiful. So similarly, ancient astrologers are looking at the landscape of life and being like, it's not about balancing opposites as much as it is about learning to hold the tension of opposites, learning how to hold both ends rather than feeling like, oh my God, there's opposites, so I have to perfectly balance them. It's about saying, no, how do I carry the tension between Mars and Venus? It's basically like saying the same thing. The same thing is true in romance. How do you carry sexual tension? If you don't learn to carry sexual tension and you're, say, a 19-year-old guy in your freshman year in college and you're trying to ask a girl out and you don't know how to carry sexual tension, the girl won't want to go out with you. She'll be like, oh, he's just eager to get in bed with me, or he's just eager to call me his girlfriend, or he's just eager to have a girlfriend. How you carry tension is important. Can you hold the tension? Can you walk with it? Can you bear it? And then it's creative. Tension held between opposites. It's something that, for Greeks, that if you held tension between opposites and learned how to flow with the tensing and relaxing of opposites, then things would be born. A creative third between the two would come forth. So, but there is tension, and you can't get rid of that. You can't whitewash it. That's what the dignity is about. It's not saying, oh, Venus in Aries is bad. It's saying Venus in Aries holds a tension that becomes more acute. It's more relaxed. Venus doesn't have to carry that tension when Venus is in Taurus or Libra, because those environments are Venusian. So it's like, I just get to do and be Venusian. And that's why a planet in its own dignity is said to be rather happy, because it's just in an environment that's conducive to its own nature. When you put it in the environment of another planet, especially one that is considered a planetary contrary, then all of a sudden that planet has to carry the tension. And that carrying of tension for many people will result in some kind of polarization, right? And the polarization, the potential for that polarization is there in an exile or a detriment. That's what we're getting at. So here are 5 things, though, that you can get excited about with Venus in Aries if you're holding the tension. So 5 things to get kind of, pumped up about. Let's talk about those first. Passion. What is passion? Passion, one of the meanings of passion means to suffer with something, to suffer alongside of something, to love something as you suffer with it. When you're a passionate artist, I remember writing my book. It took me a long time. Like, I think the total amount of time between starting to write it and actually publishing it was like 6 years. That was not an easy process. Just like birthing a child for my wife did not look easy. It's different, but like a creative process is often passionate, as in you love it but it's like you're getting cooked in it. So Venus and Aries, the beautiful thing is, if you hold the tension between Venus and Mars, if you can hold it, then you'll find passionate intensity. And that is a flavor. That is something that the soul likes. Okay, so if you hold the tension, that's your reward, is you get to feel passionately. 2 is feminine strength. Although Venus can carry the tension with Mars, and Venus in Aries can cause lots of conflicts in relationships, you can also see feminine qualities empowered, like the woman warrior, the Joan of Arc, the sense of the empowered woman, the strength of the feminist movement, or something like that. So when the feminine is paired with the really assertive, bold, strong, fiery Mars-like qualities, that's a strong woman, right? My wife has Venus in Aries, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mess with her when Venus in Aries. You got to look in her eye, and I'm like, yep, that is, she's the ram is in charge right now, you know. So I don't. My Capricorn moon is very tempted because it's like a goat to like lock horns and tangle with other horn creatures, you know, like the Taurus, the Taurus and the ram and so forth. But yeah, I mean, you know, the strength of women, whether that's entrepreneurial, the entrepreneurial instinct, woman as CEO, woman as leader, women's circles, the concern about women's rights, women's choice, women's independence. These things are acute, they come into acute focus as Venus enters Aries and the Supreme Court is thinking about what they're going to do with Roe v. Wade, right? That's Venus in Aries. There's the tension. Do you feel it in the air right now? Where, regardless of where you may stand, I'm sure there are people who watch this who are all have all sorts of opinions about you know, that issue politically, but do you feel the tension regardless of where you may stand? The sense of what is a woman's right, what is a woman's duty, what constitutes choice and agency. These are Venus and Aries kinds of things, and they can be extremely positive, empowering. The clarifying of desires. Now I know what I want, because Venus is very content, let's say in Taurus, to organically let desires and be shaped and formed. And it's like there's more of a process orientation and a letting things naturally come to me, like a centripetal force that pulls things inward, like things are drawn to Venus in Taurus or something like that. When you put Venus in Aries, it's I know what I want and I'm going to go get it. And so the sense of what I desire, what is beautiful, pleasing, what will satiate me, what I want that is beautiful and attractive to me, there becomes this laser-like focus and impulse to go do it or get it or whatever the case might be. Now that could be complicated, but genuinely, it can also be very positive in the sense of just getting action, getting a momentum and action towards something that has suddenly become clear. I know now what I desire. And it doesn't have to be some like, you know, rush to the buffet or some, it doesn't have to be like gross. Number 4, the right blend of assertive and receptive. It's like Venus in Aries is like the tango. It's real sexy interaction between push forward, pull back. And you might see the kind of erotics in terms of how you act and behave, how you are charming and receptive and relationally intelligent while also getting what you want. That blend somehow, you just becomes a little sharper and a little bit more. The tension is a little bit more felt, but it can be fun. And then, you know, strength is sexy. Sometimes Venus in Aries is just suddenly I'm attracted to things that are strong and bold and direct, and you know, you could be attracted to things that have a little bit more of that Aries like quality. That suddenly becomes the object of desire or what you're attracted to. All right, but here are 5 things to watch out for, and these have more to do with the classical, like if you don't hold the tension of Mars Venus, if you don't hold the amplified tension of these two well, then watch out because these are likely coming. Childishness. This would be just immaturity in what I want, what I desire, and how I'm seeking to fulfill my desire. Just being childish, really immature. 2 would be selfishness, close cousin. Doesn't necessarily have to be as childish and immature, though. The selfishness can be more dominant, you know, more cutthroat. So be careful, though, of I want what I want. Like Veruca Salt, Venus and Aries. You guys remember Veruca Salt from Willy Wonka? There's, you know, she ends up going down the chute as a bad egg. My daughter, I showed her that movie for the first time, and she was like, "That girl was naughty." I was like, Yeah. It's so funny. My daughter has Venus in Scorpio, and my oldest, and she is just like so you can just feel she just works that tension, and it's just like she's, a daughter of my wife who's got Venus in Aries too. So it's like, and that tension, it's like you either learn how to hold it and you become very masterful, and it's a very creatively potent combination, Venus in a Mars ruled sign. It's funny how different too Mars is in a Venus ruled sign. We'll do a video on that eventually, maybe as Mars enters Taurus down the line and not too long, later this summer. But anyway, they are very different. So, selfishness. Number 3 would be ruthlessness. Venus in Aries can be, like I said, sort of cutthroat. It's just like, I don't care who's in my way. It's very Machiavellian. Just I will get what I want when I want it. Like the worst soap opera character you can imagine. Just or who it comes to my mind is we watched this series called Ozark, the Ozark. I think it was called Ozark. Anyway, it's kind of like, it's hard to explain. It's a Netflix series, and Helen Hunt, is that her name? No, not Helen Hunt. What's her name? The main character, I can't think of. It's Jason Bateman's wife in the show. If someone remembers her name, that would be nice. But anyway, she, as the show goes on, gets at certain times, not all the time, but at certain times, she gets real Venus in Aries, like just like the what am I thinking of? Like, what's the archetype? Is it like Electra, or it's just it's like Kali, it's like destroyer goddess energy, and just don't stand in my way kind of stuff. And that can be, and obviously there's probably positive expressions of that too, right? But like feminine strength, for example. But and this can be in men or women, by the way, it does not matter. It's just a ruthless, I will get what I want, and I will cut a bitch, I'm sorry. I blame it on COVID. All right, number 4, domineering. So, yeah, and the other one can be just unintentionally domineering. Like, I just tend to have to be on top, be number one, and yet I want everyone to think that I'm playing equal, that I care equally about everyone. So it's really complicated. Sometimes if you've ever been on a team with someone that has Venus in Aries, it's like they want the ball all the time, but they can never admit that they want the ball all the time. It can be like Venus in Aries. So watch for the like unintentionally domineering, but trying to play the like I'm loved and liked and playing nice with everyone. And that can be something that like gets, dominant, but like cloaking it behind like a Venusian demeanor. And then number 5 is provocative. I know this one is actually kind of fun. Being provocative isn't always bad, but when you're intentionally just trying to provoke or do or say or dress in a way that's like, I'm just trying to get a reaction here. You know what I mean? Like, and whatever. But whatever example you can think of that someone would do in your world that would be provocative, that would be just a way of ruffling someone's feathers, or like your teenage kids trying to ruffle your feathers just by like, I'm going to dress a way that I know will piss my mom off or something. I don't know. Venus in Aries is I will do my own damn thing, and sometimes that provocative nature is going to burn bridges, ruin relationships, and so forth. It's like probably the worst of Venus in Aries is the strain that it can put on relationships overall. Any kind of area of your life where some kind of social cohesion and harmony is hoped for or expected, Venus in Aries will often, just get its horns locked into some kind of power struggle. That's probably the worst of it. Now remember, the difference with Venus and Aries being positive and productive or tending toward destructive qualities really has to do not so much with balancing something as much as it is with learning to hold the tension of something. The more you learn how to hold the tension, I am I'm a bad mama, but I'm also someone who is not going to walk on people because I have ethics. It's kind of like the warrior has a code of honor. So if like honor is part of what Mars holds, alongside of being like, I'm tough and I'm action oriented, I'm not going to take crap. But there's also like, I'm not here to be dominant. I'm not here to be a bully. and you can just hold that tension. It's not about eliminating the anger that might be boiling under the surface. It's about learning to, let the need for peace also speak with equal voice. Most of the time it's like, let's collapse into one side or the other. I shouldn't be aggressive, I should just be really peaceful. Or it's like, oh, be peaceful, you're just getting walked on. Why don't you just be bad? It's like in our head we're always trying to figure things out by saying, like, well, it's this side of the thing that I should be, and it's not the other side. Most of the time, like Carl Jung said, it's like, the cross we carry is a cross of opposites. And it's the crucible, the creative crucible. The way we actually evolve is by learning how to carry both sides and honoring the presence of both. They both exist. They're both real. And if you have a planet in its detriment, it's not that anything's wrong with you or you have bad karma or anything like that, but it is that you will feel the amplified presence of those opposites in a way that you might not if Venus was just in its home sign. But let me tell you that, wherever there are such tensions in our charts, and there are many ways that they present themselves, not just in, dignities. There are many ways that planetary tensions present themselves in our charts. We all have them. And those are the places that, we grow because of those places. So, but you can't whitewash them and make them positive without having to work it, so that's why the dignities are there, to also teach us about where those spots are that we're working. Anyway, that's what I've got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this talk about Venus and Aries. As always, if you have any good stories to share, please use the hashtag grabbed or send us an email, grabbed@nightlightastrology.com. What have you noticed over the past couple of days as Venus has ingressed into the sign of Aries? Any good stories to share? Use hashtag grab, put them in the comments section, or email us, and we aggregate those stories and share them occasionally. So don't share anything you don't mind, that you don't want put in a future storytelling video, because we have some of those coming up soon. All right, that's what I've got for today. I hope you guys are having a great week. Don't forget, the new class starts on June 5th. Hope to see some of you there. Take it easy, everyone. Bye.